One sentence at a backyard barbecue destroyed my marriage. My wife smiled when she said it. Everyone heard. I walked out in silence and disappeared. She thought I'd broken. She had no idea I'd been preparing for this moment, or what her own son was about to tell me. My name is Trevor Hopkins. I'm 44 years old, and I own an equipment rental business in the Houston area. Built it from nothing over 15 years, working 70-hour weeks, missing birthdays and holidays. Also, my family could have the life they deserved. My wife, Ashley, is 37, works in marketing for a dental practice downtown. We've been married 11 years. She brought Ryan into the marriage, her son from her first marriage. The kid was 3 years old back then, called me Trev for the first 2 years, until one morning he just said Dad, like it was the most natural thing in the world. That boy is 14 now, plays varsity football as a freshman. I love him like he's my own blood. The evening started normal enough. We drove over to the Hendersons' place for their annual summer barbecue. These weren't close friends, more like our social circle, the people Ashley liked spending time with. Dave Henderson worked in commercial real estate. His wife Kim taught yoga and posted about it constantly. Their backyard was the kind you see in magazines, string lights hanging over a stone patio, a built-in grill that probably cost more than my first truck. Ashley wore that blue sundress I bought her for her birthday, the one that made her eyes look brighter. She seemed happy, laughing with the other wives, drinking wine from those oversized glasses that hold half a bottle. I stood by the grill with Dave and a couple other guys, talking about interest rates and the Astros pitching problems, the usual stuff. Around 8 o'clock, we all sat down at the long table they'd set up outside. Someone made a toast, glasses clinked, and the conversation flowed easy. Kim asked everyone to share their most romantic memory. Typical party game stuff. People went around the table with their rehearsed stories, anniversary trips, and proposal tales. Then it was Ashley's turn. "Oh, the most romantic night of my life," she said, her voice carrying across the table. "That definitely wasn't with my husband." She smiled when she said it. Not nervous, not apologetic, just smiled, like she told a joke everyone should find amusing. The table went silent. Someone's fork scraped against a plate. Dave cleared his throat. I sat there, my hand frozen halfway to my beer bottle, waiting for her to laugh it off, to say she was kidding, to look at me with those eyes that used to make me forget my own name. She never did. She just took another sip of wine and started talking to Savannah next to her about some spa they wanted to visit. I stood up slowly, my chair scraping against the stone. Nobody said a word as I walked around the table, grabbed my keys from the side table by the gate, and left. Didn't grab my jacket, didn't say goodbye, just walked to my truck, started the engine, and drove. I stopped checking my phone after the first mile. One careless sentence at a backyard barbecue ruined everything I thought I had. And when I vanished into silence that night, Ashley had no clue what was waiting for her. I drove for 2 hours straight. No music, no destination, just the hum of tires on asphalt and the rage building in my chest. Eventually, I pulled into a truck stop outside Conroe, parked under a flickering light near the back of the lot, and sat there gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. My phone had been buzzing nonstop, text after text lighting up the screen. I finally looked. Most were from the group chat Ashley shared with her friends. Someone had already posted about what happened, complete with laughing emojis. "OMG, Ashley, you're terrible," with 3 skull emojis. "I can't believe you said that," followed by wine glasses and more laughter. Ashley herself had posted in the thread. "What? It was just a joke. People are so sensitive. Just a joke." That's what 11 years of marriage reduced down to. A punchline at a barbecue. But here's the thing they didn't know. The thing Ashley didn't know. I wasn't the fool she thought I was. I've been watching, documenting, preparing for months. I opened my laptop, the one I kept in the truck for job sites, and logged into a cloud drive Ashley didn't know existed. Inside was a folder labeled Business Backup 2024. Boring name, intentionally boring. The kind of thing nobody would click on even if they found it. Inside that folder were 63 files. Screenshots of text messages between Ashley and someone saved in her phone as gym trainer. Photos I'd taken of her car parked at the Marriott on Loop 610 when she told me she was having lunch with her sister. Bank statements showing cash withdrawals every Friday for 6 months. Always $200. Always from the ATM near her office. A receipt for a hotel room in Austin during a weekend. She claimed she was at a marketing conference. I called the conference organizer. She'd never registered. I'd been adding to this folder since January, quietly, methodically, like someone cataloging evidence for a case they hoped they'd never have to prosecute. Every time I found something that didn't add up, every time my gut told me something was wrong, I documented it, saved it, filed it away. But I never opened the folder intending to use it. I kept telling myself I was wrong, that I was being paranoid, that there had to be an explanation. I wanted to be wrong. Tonight, she'd given me permission to stop wanting that. I scrolled through the files, my jaw clenched so tight it ached. There was a video, too, 37 seconds long, filmed from my truck 3 weeks ago when I'd driven past a Starbucks on Westheimer. Ashley, sitting in a corner booth with a man I didn't recognize, his hand covering hers on the table, her leaning in close, laughing at something he said, touching his arm in that way she used to touch mine. I'd sat in my truck watching that video maybe 100 times since then, torturing myself with it, looking for some innocent explanation that didn't exist. The man in the video was younger, clean-cut, wearing a polo with a company logo I couldn't quite make out. He looked comfortable. She looked happy, happier than I'd seen her in years. My phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't a group chat. It was a single text from Ashley. "Where are you? People are asking." Not, "Are you okay?" Nah, "I'm sorry. Just worried about what people were asking." I stared at that message for a long time. Then I opened my contacts and scrolled to a name I hadn't called in almost a year. Paul Thornton. Used to be a private investigator before he switched to doing digital forensics work. I'd hired him once when I thought one of my employees was skimming from the till. Turned out I was right. Paul found everything in 48 hours. I typed out a message. "Paul, it's Trevor Hopkins. Remember when you said I could call if I ever needed help? I need it now. Can we meet tomorrow?" His response came back in under a minute. 7 a.m. Betty's Diner on Highway 59. What are we looking for? I typed 3 words. Everything she's hiding. Then I turned off my phone, reclined the seat in my truck, and tried to sleep. Tomorrow, the real work would begin. I met Paul at Betty's Diner at 6:58 in the morning. The place smelled like burnt coffee and bacon grease. Exactly how a diner should smell. Paul was already there, sitting in a corner booth with a cup of black coffee and a manila folder in front of him. He looked the same as I remembered. Late 50s, gray hair buzzed military short, eyes that didn't miss anything. We shook hands, and I slid into the booth across from him. "You look like hell," Paul said, not unkindly. "Didn't sleep much." I ordered coffee from the waitress, then turned back to him. "How fast can you work?" "Depends what you need. Your message said she's hiding something. Give me details." I spent the next 20 minutes walking him through everything. The folder, the screenshots, the hotel receipts, the video at Starbucks. Paul listened without interrupting, occasionally making notes on a small pad. When I finished, he sat back and studied me. "You already have enough for a divorce. Why do you need me?" "Because I need everything," I said. "Every lie, every transaction, every person involved. I need to know exactly what she's been doing and who she's been doing it with. I want a complete picture." Paul nodded slowly. "That's going to take some digging. Could get expensive." "I don't care what it costs." "All right. I'll need access to your business accounts, any shared credit cards, phone records if you can get them." I pulled out a thumb drive from my pocket and slid it across the table. "Everything's on there. Bank logins, credit card statements, copies of phone bills. I've been documenting for months." Paul picked up the drive, a slight smile on his face. "You've been busy. I hoped I wouldn't need it, but you prepared anyway. Smart." He pocketed the drive. "Give me 72 hours. I'll have a preliminary report." We finished our coffee in silence. As I stood to leave, Paul caught my arm. "Trevor, one thing. Once you see what I find, you can't unsee it. You sure you want to go down this road?" I thought about Ashley's smile at that barbecue. The way she'd laughed when she said those words. The way everyone else had looked at me with pity. "I'm already down the road," I said. "I just need to know how far it goes." Back in my truck, I finally turned my phone on. 37 new messages. Most from Ashley, progressing from concerned to angry to desperate. The last one, sent at 2 in the morning, just said, "Fine. Stay gone. See if I care." But there was another message that caught my attention. From Ryan, my stepson. "Dad, can you call me when you get this? Please. It's important. Don't tell Mom." My stomach dropped. I called him immediately. He picked up on the first ring, his voice low and rushed. "Dad, where are you?" "I'm okay, Ryan. What's wrong? I need to talk to you." "Not on the phone. Can you meet me after football practice? Like around 5? There's something you need to know about Mom. Ryan, what is it? Not on the phone, he repeated. Please, Dad. Just meet me at the Sonic on FM 1960. The one by school. He hung up before I could say anything else. I sat there in the diner parking lot, staring at my phone. Whatever Ryan had to tell me, it was serious enough that he didn't want his mother knowing about it. That kid had always been loyal to Ashley, even when they fought. For him to reach out to me like this meant something was very wrong. The day dragged. I spent most of it parked in the lot behind my equipment rental business, watching my employees move in and out, handling rentals and returns. I should have been in there working. Instead, I sat in my truck going through the folder again, cross-referencing dates and times, building a timeline in my head. At 4:45, I drove to the Sonic. Ryan's beat-up Honda Civic pulled in at 5:03. He looked around nervously before walking over to my truck and climbing into the passenger seat. Hey, bud, I said. He didn't say anything for a moment. Just sat there, his hands gripping his knees, jaw working like he was trying to find the words. Ryan, whatever it is, you can tell me. He pulled out his phone, opened it, and handed it to me. I recorded this 2 weeks ago. I was going to delete it, but after what happened last night, I thought you should hear it. I looked at the screen. It was a voice recording, 11 minutes long. I pressed play. Ashley's voice filled the truck, crystal clear. She was on the phone with someone, laughing, talking in that tone she used when she thought she was being clever. I know. Trevor's clueless. He works 70 hours a week, comes home exhausted. He doesn't notice anything. Honestly, it's almost too easy. My blood went cold. Ryan stared straight ahead, not looking at me. The recording continued. Ashley talking about meeting someone at hotels. Talking about how she'd opened credit cards in my name because I never checked my credit report. Talking about transferring money from our business account to some offshore thing she'd set up. Talking about how she'd been planning this for over a year. And then she said a name. Jordan Phillips. Works for Texas Industrial Supply, one of my biggest vendors. The guy who sold me equipment every month. The guy I probably talked to 100 times. The recording ended. I sat there, the phone in my hand, feeling like someone had hollowed me out with a spoon. I'm sorry, Dad, Ryan said quietly. I didn't know what to do. She's my mom, but what she's doing to you, it's not right. I looked at him. This 14-year-old kid who'd just handed me the evidence that would destroy his mother. Who'd chosen me over her. Thank you, I managed. Thank you for telling me. What are you going to do? I don't know yet, I said. But Ryan, whatever happens, you and me, we're solid. Always. He nodded, wiping his eyes quickly. Can I stay with you? When this all goes down, I don't want to be with her. Yeah, I said. Yeah, you can stay with me. Paul called me the next morning at 7:15. You're going to want to sit down for this. I was already sitting, drinking gas station coffee in my truck outside a budget and where I'd spend the night. Talk to me. Your wife's been busy. Real busy. I found 3 credit cards open in your name over the past 18 months. Total balance is $47,000. The charges are mostly hotels, restaurants, gifts. She's also been systematically draining your business account. Small amounts, $500 to $1,000 at a time, always labeled as vendor payments or supply purchases. How much? $62,000 over the past year. Maybe more. I'm still digging. The number hit me like a fist. $62,000. Gone. Money I'd earned, money that was supposed to keep my business running, my employees paid. There's more, Paul continued. I pulled phone records. She's been in contact with Jordan Phillips, the guy from Texas Industrial Supply, for 14 months. Hundreds of calls and texts. I also found hotel records. They've been meeting at the same Marriott off Loop 610 every Friday afternoon for the past 6 months. Room 412. Always paid with one of those credit cards in your name. I closed my eyes. Every Friday. While I thought she was having lunch with friends or running errands. Every single Friday. Here's where it gets interesting, Paul said. I did some digging into this Jordan character. He's 34. Lives in an apartment in the Galleria area. But here's the kicker. He's not divorced like he claims. He's married. His wife's name is Danielle Phillips. They've been separated for 8 months, but still legally married. And get this, she filed for separation after she found out he was cheating. With Ashley. Possibly. I'm trying to reach Mrs. Phillips now. If she'll talk to me, we might have an ally. An ally. The wife of the man sleeping with my wife. The symmetry of it was almost funny. There's something else, Paul said, his voice dropping. I found medical records. Ashley was pregnant 3 months ago. She terminated it. The world stopped. Just stopped. What? Medical records from a clinic in Houston. She was 8 weeks along when she had the procedure. Given the timeline, it would have been Phillips's kid. I couldn't speak. Couldn't think. Ashley and I hadn't been intimate in months. She claimed she was stressed, too tired, not in the mood. And all that time, she was pregnant with another man's child. Trevor, you still there? Yeah, I said, my voice hollow. Yeah, I'm here. I'm still working on the business side. If she's been forging your signature on documents, that's fraud. Federal crime. I'll have a full report by tomorrow afternoon. Send it when you have it. All of it. I hung up and sat there in the parking lot, staring at nothing. $47,000 in credit card debt I didn't know about. $62,000 stolen from my business. A pregnancy. An abortion. All of it hidden. All of it lies. My phone buzzed. A text from Ryan. Mom's asking where you are. I told her I don't know. She's freaking out. Also, she's meeting someone for lunch today. I heard her on the phone. Want me to follow her? I stare at that message. My 14-year-old stepson, offering to spy on his own mother for me. Part of me wanted to tell him no, that he shouldn't have to be in the middle of this. But another part of me, the part that was cold and calculating now, knew I needed every advantage. Don't follow her. I texted back. But if you hear anything else, let me know. And Ryan, be careful. Don't let her catch you. I won't. Love you, Dad. I sat there for a long time, thinking. Ashley had turned our marriage into a crime scene. She'd stolen from me, lied to me, betrayed me in every way possible. And she'd done it all with a smile on her face, making me feel like I was the problem, like I was paranoid or controlling or not paying enough attention. Well, she was right about one thing. I hadn't been paying enough attention, but I was paying attention now. Paul delivered his full report on Thursday afternoon. We met at the same diner, and he slid a thick folder across the table. I opened it and started reading. Bank statements, credit applications with my forged signature, hotel surveillance photos, phone records. Everything documented, organized, damning. She's been planning this for at least 18 months, Paul said. The first credit card was opened in your name back in February of last year. She's been careful, methodical, almost professional. Almost. She got sloppy with the business account. The transfers are too regular, too obvious once you know what to look for. Any decent forensic accountant will spot it in 10 minutes. I flipped through the pages, each one another nail in the coffin of my marriage. What about Jordan Phillips? Married. Wife's name is Danielle. They've been separated for 8 months, but the divorce isn't final yet. Apparently she caught him cheating, though she didn't know who with at the time. I reached out to her yesterday. She wants to talk to you. To me? Why? Because she's as angry as you are. And she has information you'll want. Hotel receipts he left in his car. Text messages she screenshotted before he deleted them. She's been building her own case. When can I meet her? Tomorrow morning. 10 o'clock at the Starbucks on Westheimer. She'll be waiting. I closed the folder. Thank you, Paul. Send me your invoice. Already did. But Trevor, one more thing. I found medical records. Your wife had another procedure done 6 months ago. Before the recent pregnancy. She was treated for an STD, chlamydia, which means either she gave it to you, or Phillips gave it to her, and she's been hiding it. I felt my stomach turn. I need to get tested. Probably a good idea. I'm sorry, man. I know this isn't easy to hear. Easy. Nothing about this was easy. But it was necessary. That evening, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Trevor. A woman's voice, familiar but distant. Like hearing an echo from another life. Yes. Who is this? It's Lauren. Lauren Mitchell. I don't know if you remember me. I sat up straighter. Lauren Mitchell. We dated senior year of high school and into college. Broke up when she went to nursing school in Dallas, and I stayed in Houston to start my business. That was over 20 years ago. Lauren. Of course I remember you. How did you get my number? I ran into Denise Watson at the grocery store yesterday. She mentioned what happened at the Henderson's barbecue. The whole thing with Ashley. I wanted to call and see if you're okay. Denise Watson. Of course. The gossip traveled fast in our social circle. I'm managing, I said carefully. Trevor, I know we haven't talked in forever, and maybe this is overstepping, but if you need someone to talk to, someone who's not involved in all this, I'm here. I went through a divorce 3 years ago. I know how isolating it can feel. There was something in her voice. Genuine concern. No judgment, no pity. Just kindness. I appreciate that, I said. Honestly, I could use a friendly ear right now. Are you free for coffee tomorrow afternoon? After you've had some time to process everything. I thought about my schedule. Meeting with Danielle Phillips in the morning. Nothing after that except more rage and planning. Yeah, I can do that. Where? How about that place near your shop? The coffee house on FM 1960? Say 2 o'clock. I'll be there. After we hung up, I sat there in my truck wondering what I'd just agreed to. Lauren Mitchell. I hadn't thought about her in years. But hearing her voice brought back memories of a simpler time, when trust came easy and love didn't feel like a trap. The next morning, I met Danielle Phillips at Starbucks. She was 36, brunette, looked exhausted. We got coffee and sat at a corner table. Thank you for meeting me, she said. Paul Thornton said you might want to see what I have. He said you caught Jordan cheating. I did. Found hotel receipts in his car last February. When I confronted him, he swore it was over, that it was a mistake. I was stupid enough to believe him for about 3 months. Then I found more receipts. More lies. I filed for separation in August. Did you know it was my wife? Not until this week. I found his phone unlocked on the counter. Saw messages from someone named Ashley. The way they talked to each other. It was obvious they'd been together for a while. I did some digging. Found out she was married to you. I'm so sorry. Not your fault. She pulled out a folder from her bag. I made copies of everything. Receipts, text messages, photos. There's one picture in particular you should see. He took it last month. It's him and Ashley at some restaurant in Austin. She's wearing a necklace. Is it one you recognize? I opened the folder and found the photo. There was Ashley, smiling at the camera, Jordan's arm around her shoulders. And around her neck was the platinum necklace I'd given her 5 years ago, right after she miscarried our daughter. The one that cost me $3,000. The one that was supposed to mean something. She was wearing on a date with him. That son of a... I stopped myself, took a breath. Sorry. Don't apologize. I feel the same way. Look, I don't know what your plans are, but if you need someone to testify about Jordan's character, about the timeline, I'm willing. I want both of them to face consequences. I'll probably take you up on that. We talked for another 30 minutes, sharing information, building a timeline. By the time I left that Starbucks, I had enough evidence to bury both of them in court. At 2 o'clock, I walked into the coffee house to meet Lauren. She was already there, sitting by the window, and when she saw me, she smiled. It was a real smile, warm and uncomplicated. Hi, she said as I sat down. Hi. We talked for 2 hours. About life, about her divorce, about what I was going through. She didn't try to give advice or tell me it would be okay. She just listened. And for the first time in days, I felt like I could breathe. When we finally left, she hugged me. You're going to get through this, Trevor. I know you will. Thank you, I said, for everything. As I drove back to the motel that night, I realized something. Ashley hadn't just taken my money or my trust. She'd taken my ability to believe in good people. But Lauren, Danielle, even Ryan, they were reminding me that good people still existed. And maybe, eventually, I could be one of them again. Ryan called me Sunday afternoon. Dad, can I come stay with you for a few days? Mom's driving me crazy. What happened? She keeps asking me where you are, what you're doing, if I've talked to you. It's like she's using me as a spy or something. And she's been acting weird. On the phone all the time, crying and angry. I just need a break. Come on over. I'm at the Comfort Inn on Highway 59. Room 214. He showed up an hour later with a backpack and his football gear. We ordered pizza and sat on the beds watching a Texans game. Not really talking, just being there together. During halftime, he muted the TV and turned to me. Dad, there's something else I need to tell you. About Mom. Okay. He pulled out his phone, nervous energy radiating off him. You remember that recording I gave you? The one where she was talking about the money and everything. Yeah. There's more. I've been recording her for a couple months now. Not all the time, just when she's on the phone and I can tell she's talking to him. Jordan. I know his name now because she says it sometimes. My chest tightened. Ryan, you don't have to do this. You shouldn't be in the middle of. I want to. She's been lying to you for so long, Dad. And the stuff she says about you when you're not there. His voice broke. It's not fair. You've been good to me. Better than my real dad ever was. And she treats you like you're nothing. I didn't know what to say. He handed me his phone. There are 6 more recordings on here. The last one is from yesterday. She was talking to Jordan about how she's been telling people you're mentally unstable, that you've been acting paranoid and controlling. She's building a story, Dad. She's trying to make you look bad before you can make her look bad. I listened to the recordings. All of them. Ashley's voice, clear as day, talking about me like I was an obstacle to be removed. Talking about how she'd convinced her mother I was the problem. How she was going to claim I was financially abusive. How she'd already talked to a lawyer about getting a restraining order. There's one more thing, Ryan said quietly. She's been telling me stuff. Coaching me on what to say if anyone asks. She wants me to tell people you've been mean to me. That you yell at me. That I'm scared of you. And have you told people that? No. Never. Because it's not true. You've never yelled at me. You've been the best dad I could ask for. He wiped his eyes. But she keeps pushing. Yesterday, she said if I really loved her, I'd help her. That you try and take everything from her, and I need to be on her side. I pulled him into a hug. This kid, 14 years old, caught in the middle of his mother's schemes, and he chose me. He chose the truth. Listen to me, I said. No matter what happens, you and I are going to be okay. I'm not going anywhere. You understand? Yeah, Dad, I understand. And Ryan, you don't have to record anything else. You've done enough. More than enough. But what if she... I have what I need. You've given me more than enough to protect myself. Now you just focus on being a kid. Let me handle the rest. He nodded, relieved. That night, after he fell asleep on the other bed, I sat there in the dark listening to the recordings again. Ashley's voice plotting against me, planning to destroy my reputation, using our son as a weapon. She crossed a line I didn't even know existed. The next morning, I called my lawyer. I need to file for emergency custody of my stepson, and I need to do it today. I hadn't spoken to Ashley's parents in 2 weeks. Howard and Carolyn Stevens lived 10 minutes from us in a retirement community near Clear Lake. They'd always treated me like a son, especially after my own father passed. Howard would call me to help with home repairs. Carolyn made me pecan pie every Thanksgiving because she knew it was my favorite. I figured they'd heard Ashley's version of events by now. The version where I was unstable, controlling, paranoid. Where she was the victim of my unreasonable behavior. So when Howard called me Tuesday morning, I almost didn't answer. Trevor, we need to talk. Can you come by the house today? His voice was hard. Not angry exactly, but firm in a way I'd never heard from him before. Sure. What time? Now would be good. I drove to their house, that sick feeling in my stomach that comes before bad news. When I pulled up, both their cars were in the driveway. This was going to be an ambush. Carolyn opened the door. Her eyes were red, like she'd been crying. Trevor, come in. They sat me down in the living room. Howard in his recliner, Carolyn on the couch. I took the chair across from them, feeling like a defendant waiting for a verdict. Howard spoke first. Ashley came by yesterday, told us everything. Said you've been acting strange for months. Said you walked out on her at a party, disappeared for days without a word. Said you've been accusing her of things that aren't true. I nodded slowly. That's her version. She also said you try and turn Ryan against her, that you're filing for custody to hurt her. Carolyn interjected, her voice shaking. Trevor, I've known you for 11 years. You're a good man. But Ashley is my daughter. If you're doing what she says, I'm not. I pulled out my phone and the folder Paul had given me. Before you decide whose side you're on, I need you to see something. And I'm warning you now. It's going to be hard to hear. I show them everything. The bank statements. The credit card bills with my forged signature. The hotel records. The text messages between Ashley and Jordan Phillips. The recording Ryan had made of Ashley admitting to the theft and the affair. Howard's face went from skeptical to shocked to stone-cold furious. Carolyn just cried, covering her mouth with her hand. When I finished, Howard stood up and walked to the window, his back to us. The silence stretched out for what felt like an hour. Finally, he spoke. My daughter did this. Yes, sir. All of it. The lying, the stealing, the cheating. All of it. Carolyn looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. Trevor, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I doubted you. I should have known Ashley was... She couldn't finish the sentence. Howard turned around. What do you need from us? I need you to know the truth. That's all. I'm not asking you to choose between your daughter and me. She's your family. So are you, Howard said firmly. You've been part of this family for 11 years. You raised our grandson. And what she's done to you is unconscionable. He looked at his wife. Carolyn, we need to talk to her. Today. Howard, she's our daughter. And she's a thief and a liar. His voice rose, something I'd never heard from him. She's been stealing from Trevor, committing crimes in his name, destroying his life. And for what? For some affair? No. No, I won't stand for this. Carolyn stood up, defensive now. You can't just cut her off. She needs us. What she needs is to face the consequences of her actions. And I'll be damned if I'm going to help her avoid them. I watched them, these two people who'd been married 43 years, suddenly on opposite sides of a divide. Mr. Stevens, Mrs. Stevens, please. Don't do this. Don't let Ashley tear your marriage apart, too. Howard shook his head. This isn't about you, son. This is about what's right. And what she did is wrong. Period. Carolyn was crying harder now. You're going to choose him over our own daughter? I'm choosing right over wrong. There's a difference. I left their house 20 minutes later with Howard's promise that he'd testify on my behalf if it came to that, and Carolyn's tearful plea that I not destroy Ashley completely. The drive back to the motel felt longer than usual. I just watched a family start to implode, and I was the catalyst, whether I wanted to be or not. That evening, Howard called me. I wanted you to know. I want to see Ashley today. Showed her the evidence you gave me. Told her she needs to make this right. How did she react? She denied everything at first. Then she cried. Then she got angry and told me I was betraying her. Said if I sided with you, she'd never speak to me again. I'm sorry. Don't be. I told her if she doesn't fix what she's broken, she'll have lost more than just you. She'll have lost me too. He paused. Carolyn's not speaking to me right now. She thinks I'm being too harsh. But I raised that girl to know right from wrong, and somewhere along the way, she forgot. Or chose to forget. Sir, I never wanted this to come between you and your wife. It's not you doing it, Trevor. It's Ashley. And if Carolyn can't see that, then we've got bigger problems than I thought. Friday morning, I got a call from my business partner, Mike Randall. Mike and I had started the equipment rental company together 15 years ago, though I'd bought him out to minority partner status about 5 years back when he wanted to semi-retire. He still handled some of the accounting and vendor relationships. Trevor, we need to talk. Something's wrong with the books. I met him at the office. It was the first time I'd been there in over a week. The place felt foreign, like I was visiting someone else's life. Mike had spreadsheets laid out on the desk. I was reconciling accounts for the quarter and found discrepancies. Money going out that doesn't match any invoices or legitimate expenses. It goes back about 18 months. How much? So far, looks like $62,000. Maybe more. The transactions are labeled as payments to vendors, but when I cross-check with actual invoices, the amounts don't line up. Someone's been siphoning money and covering their tracks. I already knew who. Ashley has access to the business account. For emergencies. Mike's face darkened. Trevor, tell me she didn't. I showed him everything. The evidence Paul had compiled. The recordings from Ryan. The confession Ashley had made on the phone about moving money out of the business account. Mike sat down heavily. Jesus. How long has this been going on? At least a year. Maybe longer. This is fraud, Trevor. Corporate fraud. We need to call the police. File charges. I know. I'm meeting with my attorney this afternoon to discuss it. What about our business relationship with Texas Industrial Supply? If Jordan Phillips is involved. He's involved. I have proof. Mike shook his head. We need to cut ties with them. Immediately. I don't care if they're one of our biggest vendors. We can't do business with someone who's been sleeping with your wife and helping her steal from us. Agreed. Mike pulled up the vendor contracts on his computer. I'm drafting a termination letter right now. Effective immediately. And Trevor, I'm listing the reason as breach of professional ethics. Let him explain that to his next potential client. I watched him type. This man who'd been my friend and partner for 15 years, going to bat for me without hesitation. Thank you, Mike. Don't thank me. This is business. You don't steal from your partners. You don't sleep with your partner's wife. And you sure as hell don't do both and expect to walk away clean. That afternoon, I met with my attorney, Robert Hayes. I'd hired him specifically for the business side of things since family law wasn't his specialty. Robert was thorough, methodical, and ruthless when he needed to be. Trevor, what Ashley's done isn't just grounds for divorce. It's criminal fraud. The forged signatures on credit card applications, the systematic theft from a business account, the identity theft. We're talking federal crimes here. Multiple felonies. What are my options? You can file a police report and let the justice system handle it. She could face up to 10 years in prison, depending on how aggressive the DA wants to be. Or you can use this as leverage. Tell her you'll keep it quiet if she signs over everything you want. The house, full custody of Ryan, zero alimony, clean break. And if I go the criminal route, she goes to jail, but the process takes years and costs you a fortune in legal fees. Plus, you might not recover the money she stole. It's probably already spent or hidden. The leverage option gets you what you want fast and clean. I thought about Ryan, about watching his mother go to prison, about the gossip, the trial, the years of appeals and hearings. I want the leverage option, but I want her to know exactly how close she came to prison. I want her to understand what she's escaping. Robert smiled grimly. I can make that happen. I'll draft papers that make it very clear. Sign everything over or face federal prosecution. No middle ground. How soon? I'll have them ready by Monday. And Trevor, one more thing. Based on what you've shown me about your father's will and the money that went into the house, you have a solid case for the property being separate, not marital. Even without the criminal charges, you'd likely win the house in court. The fraud just makes it faster. I left his office feeling something I hadn't felt in weeks. Control. Ashley had spent over a year taking from me, lying to me, destroying everything we'd built. Now it was time for her to face what she'd done. My phone buzzed. A text from Lauren Mitchell. How are you holding up? Want to grab dinner tonight? Just as friends. You look like you could use a decent meal. I smiled despite everything. Dinner sounds good. Thank you. Antonio's on Westheimer. 7 o'clock. My treat. For the first time since that barbecue, I felt like maybe there was a path forward. Maybe there was life after betrayal. And maybe, just maybe, I'd find my way to it. Sunday morning, I did something I hadn't done in months. I went to church. First Baptist on Highway 6, where Ashley and I had been members for 8 years. Where we'd sat through countless sermons about faithfulness and commitment. Where she'd volunteered for the women's ministry, teaching other wives about marriage and trust. The irony wasn't lost on me. I walked in during the opening hymn and took a seat in the back. Ashley was there, 3 rows from the front, sitting with Savannah and a few other women from her circle. She didn't see me. Not yet. Pastor Williams finished the hymn and asked if anyone had prayer requests or testimonies to share. This was the moment. The one I'd been planning since I left Robert Hayes' office. I stood up. Ashley's head turned. Her face went white when she saw me. Savannah grabbed her arm, whispering something. The whole congregation was looking at me now. Pastor Williams, I have something I need to say. Something this community needs to hear. The pastor looked uncomfortable, but nodded. Of course, Brother Trevor. Come on up. I walked to the front, my heart pounding, but my voice steady. I turned to face the congregation. 300 people, maybe more. People I'd known for years. People who'd watched my marriage, admired it even. My name is Trevor Hopkins. Most of you know me, know my wife Ashley. For 11 years, I thought we had a good marriage. I worked hard, provided for our family, loved her son like he was my own. But 2 weeks ago at barbecue, Ashley said something that changed everything. She told a room full of people that the most romantic night of her life wasn't with me. I could hear whispers starting. Ashley was frozen in her seat. At first, I thought maybe she was joking, but then I started looking closer at things that hadn't made sense for months. And I found out she's been having an affair for over a year with a man named Jordan Phillips, who works for one of my business vendors. They met at hotels every Friday afternoon while I was working. More whispers. Louder now. But it gets worse. Ashley opened credit cards in my name without my knowledge. $47,000 in debt I didn't know about. She stole $62,000 from my business account over the past year. She forged my signature on documents. She committed fraud, identity theft, and then she tried to make me look like the crazy one when I disappeared for a few days to process it all. Ashley stood up, her voice shaking. Trevor, stop. Please. No. You had your chance to be honest. You chose to lie, to steal, to destroy everything we built. And the worst part, you got pregnant with his child and terminated it without ever telling me. While I thought we were trying to work on our marriage, you were erasing evidence of your affair. The gasps were audible now. Women covering their mouths. Men shaking their heads. Pastor Williams looked like he wanted to stop me, but couldn't find the words. I'm not here for sympathy. I'm here because this church needs to know who Ashley really is. She stood in front of you teaching women about biblical marriage while destroying her own. She's a fraud. And I won't let her play the victim when the truth comes out. Ashley ran. Just stood up and ran out of the sanctuary, Savannah chasing after her. Half the congregation watched her go. The other half stared at me. I looked at Pastor Williams. I'm sorry for disrupting the service, but the truth needed to be told. I walked out, got in my truck and drove away. My phone started buzzing immediately. Texts from people who'd been there. Some supportive, some calling me cruel, some asking for details. I turned off my phone. What was done was done. 3 days after the church incident, Ashley's lawyer called mine. She was ready to sign. No negotiation, no fight. Just surrender. We met at Robert Hayes' office. Ashley looked smaller somehow, defeated. Her mother wasn't with her. Howard had told me Carolyn finally saw the truth after the church incident and had come to apologize to me personally. She and Howard were in counseling, trying to repair what Ashley's lies had fractured. Ashley signed everything. The house, full custody of Ryan, 0 alimony, assumption of all debt she created. In exchange, I agreed not to file criminal charges. She'd have to deal with the credit card companies and the bank on her own, but she wouldn't go to prison. She looked at me once as she signed the last paper. I'm sorry, she said quietly. No, you're not. You're sorry you got caught. She didn't argue. Just finished signing and left. Ryan moved in with me that weekend. We repainted his room, bought new furniture, started fresh. He seemed lighter somehow, free from the weight of his mother's manipulation. We threw a football in the yard, ordered pizza, watched movies. Normal stuff. Healing stuff. Lauren came by a few times. Not as a date, just as a friend. We'd sit on the porch and talk about everything and nothing. About the future, about second chances, about learning to trust again. She never pushed, never asked for more than I could give. 8 months later, Howard called to tell me Ashley had moved to Austin. Fresh start, he said. Running from the shame, more likely. Savannah's husband had divorced her too after finding out about her own affair. The whole circle had imploded. Jordan Phillips lost his job at Texas Industrial Supply. Danielle Phillips got her divorce finalized and moved to Dallas with their kids. Last I heard, Jordan was working at a warehouse in San Antonio, his reputation destroyed. One evening, I sat on my porch with Ryan, watching the sunset. He was 15 now, taller, more confident, starting to look at colleges already. Dad, can I ask you something? He said. Always. Do you think you'll ever get married again? I thought about it. About Lauren, who'd become a steady presence in my life. About learning to trust again. About building something real instead of living in the ruins of something fake. Maybe, I said. Someday. With someone who understands what truth means. Ryan nodded. Good. You deserve that. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky orange and red. I'd lost a wife, but I kept my son, my dignity, and my business. I'd learned who my real friends were. I'd discovered strength I didn't know I had. Ashley had tried to destroy me. Instead, she just cleared away everything that was broken, leaving room for something better to grow. And that was more than enough. That was everything I needed to start again.